Here's a question for you. How would you feel if you found out that your 13-year-old daughter was able to get the pill from a chemist without a prescription? Well, that's what an NHS report is suggesting should happen to try to reduce the number of teenage pregnancies.
When a no-prescription scheme was tried in London, it found that there was a significant drop in the number of women needing the morning-after pill. Well, to discuss this further, we're joined by two mums with daughters, author Liz Fraser and Anne Scanlon from the charity Life, which offers support and advice to women on fertility, abortion and aftercare. And Anne, start with you. Given that introduction, what is your stance on this?
Well, I think the age of consent is there for a reason. It's there to protect children. And I think if a person in a position of responsibility hands a 13-year-old child the pill, it sends out the message that you're ready for sex, that underage sex is okay, and that underage sex is normal. I think rather than contracepting our children, we ought to be teaching them to value themselves and to value others. I mean, there's actually a report in The Lancet just this week that shows that it suggests that 32% of 13 to 15-year-olds are sexually active. So obviously that's shocking. But what it means is 68% are not. And this message is going out to children all over the country that having sex is normal. I take the view that if a child is sexually active, it needs protection. But surely if we're sending out a message, do what you want so long as you're careful, it's just... Children are not going to be responsible, and that's not about wearing a condom.
Has you got a point, Liz? You know, in trying to protect a few, we're sending out a negative and difficult message to the many.
I question whether that's the message we're sending out at all. And the fact is, and many parents watching this right now know, the fact is that children are sexually active much younger than we would very much like them to be. It has always been thus, you know. But our children are living in a very different culture from the one that we lived in when we were teenagers. And if you have got 30 whatever % of children of that age who are sexually active, I would far rather... I have a 14-year-old daughter, OK? I don't think she's in a relationship of that kind. I don't know. I don't think she is. I would far rather she came home to me and said, Mum, I'm in this kind of relationship, I'm going to be taking contraception because I don't want to become pregnant, than that she came home and said to me, I am pregnant.
Couldn't she, and have an education process as part of that and a debate with a doctor?
No.
Having a prescription, not needing a prescription, takes that conversation away. I think that's what
one of the very... One thing which has come out time and time again in studies of this nature is that as soon as something is not confidential, as soon as... And we're talking about girls here, by the way, and my second point really does relate to boys. We need to put much more of the onus on boys, but I'll come to that in just a second. But, I mean, where these girls are concerned, if they feel that they have to go either to talk to their parents or to talk to a GP or anything, many of them don't because they're terrified of this coming home to their parents. So I would much rather get our head out of the sand and stop saying, in an ideal world, these kids would not be in a sexual relationship. Accept that many of them are, and there are pockets in the country where this is worse. And what we need to do is we need to make sure right now they are prevented from an unwanted teenage pregnancy, which will either result in an unwanted child or the trauma of an abortion and a termination, which is really, really damaging. But the boys have a massive role to play in this. And for some reason, there is still something which, not only in boys, but in men also, which lingers, that somehow, if you using a condom is in some way less manly or whatever, they need to be taught you are an idiot if you don't use one, and you need to protect not only yourself, but the girl that you're with.
I think that's one of the issues, in a sense, in that if you put 13-year-olds on the pill, are they responsible enough to take it at the right time and so on, but also won't protect them from STIs, which is perhaps an even greater problem. And I just think it sends out an irresponsible attitude in general. I think we need to be... I just think it's really defeatist to assume that we cannot stop. You know, it's an immovable thing. We cannot stop children having sex. Yes, we can. Actually, have more faith in young people than that.
Yeah,
not all parents are as responsible as you are.
But OK, listen, I'm a responsible parent. I'm sure you are too. And many people watching are too. I was raised by very responsible parents. I was top of the class at school and all of that stuff. Did I do sexually involving things that I probably shouldn't have been doing at an age? Of course I did. And why did I do it? I did it for the same reason that all girls throughout history have, because girls still think, even if they have good self-esteem and all of that, they still get to a moment where they think, if I don't, he won't like me, I won't be popular.
And that is a very...
This is a huge debate.
We do need to change that, but given that it exists, we have to protect these girls against pregnancy.
Could listen to you two all day. It's fascinating. You both make such fantastic points as well. Thanks for now.
Thank you. Welcome.